I'll call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Strobush, Van Blaricom,
Present.
Leonard,
Here.
Flannum,
Here.
Isaacson,
Here.
Elkin.
Here. Great. So we have public comment. No one from MSA to give an update. I think it's been nice that you've been doing the almost daily updates coming out of the city hall and on Facebook. I think that's been very helpful and well received.
And I'm surprised how many people listen to the radio in the morning, because if I don't show up, I hear about it.
One thing to bring up would be, they're having trouble with people running up and down Main Street. Crossing it is one thing,
Yeah.
but like today, there was backhoes, that couldn't,
Yeah.
or tractors that couldn't move, they got vehicles behind them. They can cross Main Street, let's just not run north and south.
I think it's a good reminder. It seems like it has been cut down a little
Sit down
bit.
there a little bit more, we can. I mean, I was telling Jeff there that there was a semi that came through, and by the time I could have got turned around, there was 3 cars behind him, so it wasn't,
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
what are you gonna do there? So, but
Yeah.
we can certainly sit down a little more and kind of monitor that as well.
Yeah.
And they were doing the testing on the sewers today and everything was good to go. They did the man drill through them all and they all look good.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's
It's
good.
coming together. It's starting to look like a road, so
Yeah.
it's looking nice.
Did they show up to pour the head wall?
Nope. No, for the
Pipes there.
Yeah, pipes there. We got one more piece to put in when they do the end, I think.
Good. So any other public comment? No one's here to give any public comment, I guess. Anyone else from here have something to say for public comment?
Did they fix the road back down by my old place there so I can get the junk out of there? No?
They gotta work on that more tomorrow. They're waiting for the head wall to get in the culvert, so that's what's holding that up.
I can't move out until I can get up to the door.
I think it's a good reminder that Thursday is the Summer Thursdays, and it's the movie this week for kids because it's the last Music on the River on Friday. So, the last opportunity for the summer.
Is not the guy from Barron coming over yet?
Chris?
September
That's-
Oh, I don't know about
That's
that.
on, we're gonna
September.
talk about it on the agenda.
Yeah.
It's number 3, I think, on the agenda to talk about that. Good, yeah, thanks for that. Good reminder. Department head reports. City Administrator, Patty.
I wanted to let you know that Amy is not here tonight, so I
Okay.
don't know if you want someone to read her report or,
Was it part of the packet?
it's in your drive, but it's
Okay.
not part of the packet.
Okay,
So,
I think it's fine.
okay. Good to see all you tonight. It's kind of hot outside, but it feels cool in here. Employee evaluations have been presented to the city council. I, along with Alderperson Tim Strobush and Alderperson Eric Elkin, are negotiating the police union contract. We are getting close to settlement. I want to get everybody ready for the 2022 budget and get these figures in regards to wages included in the very near future. We need to be prepared for the budget preparation starting in September, and I will be asking department heads to give me their capital items for consideration in the 2022 budget. I have been attending weekly meetings with Market and Johnson and heirs, as well as subcontractors at the Amory City Center. You can look for updates from their project managers as a result of those meetings included in your OneDrive. We're still moving forward with a target move-in date of December 3rd. I will be leaving for the Chief Executive's Workshop through the League of Wisconsin Municipalities in Fond du Lac tomorrow. The conference is geared for city administrators. I should learn some valuable tools to bring back for my job with the city of Amory. Ben Jansen, my deputy clerk treasurer, is currently training in Milwaukee through the Wisconsin Municipal Clerks Association. It is their annual conference. The training he takes for these types of courses are necessary for his certification. I have contacted Granicus, who deals with several different types of services to help with efficiency in the office workplace. I'm moving forward with agenda and meeting software that will help all council members navigate their tablets quickly to access the documents associated with the electronic agenda in their tablet. It's really slick. you know, it's got a hyperlink in your agenda, and you just click on it, and it brings you right to your documents. So we should have that up running fairly soon. 2022 financial audit is complete. When I receive hard copies, I'll distribute them to all of you. I've sent out information to the Joint Review Board in regards to the Joint Review Board meeting. That's at 8:30 a.m. on August 25th, 2021. We will be selecting member-at-large appointee position on the Standing Joint Review Board, as well as a selection of the chairperson for the Standing Joint Review Board. Review of the 2020 TID annual reports will take place, as well as review of the draft TID numbers 6 and 7 amendments. We'll also discuss our next meeting date for consideration of TID number 6 and 7, adoption of those amendments. Plan Commission will meet right after that, so that's all I have. Is there any questions? Okay, thanks.
Great, thank you, Patty. Yep. Chief Marson?
I'll direct this to the audience, huh?
Yeah.
Good evening. We continue to stay busy on various items within our department there, and here's just some highlights below there. I know at the end of last council meeting there, we approved the hiring of Amanda Reynolds, but I just want to let the community know that we did have an opening in our patrol staff, and we were able to move part-time officer Amanda Reynolds into that position without delay or scheduling problems. It does leave our part-time staff kind of shy there, so we'll be looking to maybe add 1 or 2 to help fill in at some events and some other situations. We had our national night out there, and I've seen a couple of you there that night there, and I feel it was a great success with our emergency services friends there. Almost all of our staff were able to there. We handed out snow cones, and our Cops and Kids organization had bought some gift certificates from some of the local businesses there. And I did learn that the fire department went up and did a last call for hot dogs there, and then I decided to go the same thing there, and we ended up with like 30 people coming down for their last snow cones and stuff like that. So we were really sweating there for a little bit, but we had plenty of supplies there. But we're already thinking of ideas for next year. We continue to plan out our move to the city center later this year there. I do need to find out from Patty and the council there. We're going to need some storage for some of the stuff in the garage there. I'd really like to get that, starting to get that cleaned out and stuff like that, not waiting for the last minute there. Jeff had just reminded on the vehicle usage in the construction area there, but otherwise, today Jeff and I met with Josh Pratt regarding the fall festival there and where the parade is going to be and some of their thoughts on some things there. So I'm going to be working closely with Jeff on that, work out all the kinks there. So
Where are they gonna have it, the parade?
the parade is going to start at the community center and go down to either Birch Street or Maple Street on Harriman Avenue. It'll be on Harriman Avenue, starting by the community center, up by the police department there, and coming northbound down to Maple Street there. They were still debating whether Maple Street or Birch Street there, but one of those two, and they'll be lining up on South Street West and Shoal Street there, so we're going to get some info out to the neighbors there well in advance there about any inconvenience or whatever that day for parade lineups there. We did have some discussion on the detour there, Jeff and I, so that's going to be problematic at best, having Harriman closed there, but we'll get through that. So
Building shaking.
I can feel it.
yeah. So, any questions at all?
No,
Thank you.
Have you made any headway on the range out at the dump?
We have been utilizing that.
Yeah?
We have been out there twice. As per our meeting a while ago there, we had limited the use. I have sent out emails to some of the people that had concerns in the past there that we were going to start utilizing that. I never heard anything back there, so this year I think we planned on using it either 4 or 5 times there, so we will continue to be good neighbors out there for that, and sending out almost a yearly schedule for that, so people know well in advance of when we're going to be out there. And it's generally 2 hours at the most, 2 to 3 hours at the most, and it's been like every other month since we started, so.
Cool.
And you do have the key for the regular lock, right? We took all the other ones off of there. There was like 8 locks on it.
Okay.
We eliminated them and hung them on the fence, whoever they are, come get them, but we
So
got
it's still
one, the regular.
okay.
Yep.
All right, that makes it easier then.
Okay.
So does everybody still have the same number then?
Yes, it's the same number that's always been on there, but we had like 8 other ones that have been
Oh,
used
got
from
it.
different contractors and
So now-
DNR and
Yep,
couldn't find the right lock half the time.
I agree, yes.
Yes.
I concur with that.
Jeff, come on up. Yep.
Nobody knew.
Well, hello everyone. And like every other month, we've been Main Street most of the time. As you notice, we got the city crew knocked out the bump outs on Birch Street just to try to save a few bucks. And that went good. We didn't wreck anything. We've been trying to helping with the sewers, just trying to do whatever we can to make the project go as smoothly as possible. The clock is up, and I would like to say special thanks to Ross and Saginaw Tree for bringing his crane. It would have been a pain in the butt without it. Oh boy. What else we got? Yeah. Oh, R&R Waste Systems was cleaning our sewers this last week. Even though we got the truck, they pull a squeegee through and then he cameras it right after. He found 3 spots that were ready to collapse. So I just went ahead and had them line them, and they were ready. They were bad. It's the old clay pipe. Nothing was left, so that's done. And then he's cameraing everything, and then we can take that and put it onto our GIS system, so everything will be on that tablet eventually when we get it up and going. The cattail parking lot, as you've seen, is done, and there's a dock next to it that we completely remodeled, so that's good to go. People were already hooking pontoons up to it and stuff the other night. Well, been paving and cleaning. Oh, the cattail trail will get paved. Talked to Nick and Mo today. They're gonna probably try to do it when they do the first lift, and then we're gonna do the fire hall at the same time. So we're gonna rip that, so it's an inconvenience to them just for a day or two. So that won't be a big deal. And besides that, everything's been going pretty good. Got a few guys sick right now. Hopefully that ain't what I think it is, but we'll find out. Kids have been starting to paint hydrants and cleaning sidewalks, and they need it. Any questions?
No, thank you. All right, thanks for all that you do to keep our city running, so, to all of you, so thank you for that. Next up on the agenda is downtown parking signs, Maple Street parking lot. So Tom, I saw that you,
I put something
Wrote
small
it.
together,
Yeah.
yes. At the last meeting there was conversation that Jeff and I should get together and talk about that, of which we did there. I briefly put some things together along with our ordinance there. I don't know if you want me to go through it all or whatever like that, but previously we had 1 hour parking downtown. The sign said 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. there. I know the discussion and the surveys that were sent out brought up the 2 hour parking there, but I put together some stuff there. Jeff and I talked about the locations in our ordinance area. A lot of them talked about going all the way down to Broadway, and we don't see any need for that. Any 2 hour parking signs or like that could basically end at Central and Baker Street. Yeah.
Yep.
In that area there, so we wouldn't have to go all the way down to Broadway and things like that, so. I'm still an advocate of having some type of restrictions on there. Although we're like most communities and don't actively go out and monitor that, we rely on voluntary compliance there, but I think without anything in place there, that it very well could be a free-for-all at times and stuff like that, so. Everything else, our winter parking, would stay the same. There, one of the things when I talked to DOT was that any changes that we make or anything like that need to be submitted to them prior there. So I talked to Jen, her name used to be Berg, but I'm not sure what it is now, from out of Eau Claire there, and she just sent me some stuff on signage on different things like that, so we just need to get to her what our plan would be for signage on Keller.
Okay, so based upon the surveys and your recommendation, it's to go 2 hours from Central to, which street did you say?
Central down to, well, it'd be Tower Street on one side, Tower to Central, and then Berman to Baker there.
Okay, so 2 hours for those and then no overnight parking between 2 and
Right.
6.
And the previous signs say 2 a.m. to 6 a.m., but we also know that we have some places that are open later, and we have some that, the fitness center I know has had people in there at 5, or one of the other places downtown. We usually don't run into a problem there at all, and we know well enough we're not gonna enforce that, but if need be,
It's nice for like the street sweeping.
Yes.
We try to get those guys in early to get it done, and it is nice not to be parked there all night.
Is the information in regards to the sign as far as the daytime limitation and the no overnight parking, is that on the same sign?
I think that was on this, on some of those same signs before.
It was before.
Yeah, but I have to look a little closer, I won't, and I haven't spent a whole lot of time looking at what the requirements are and stuff on there, but I need to look a little more closer. I know in some of the other communities that I've looked at, they've actually put them on the light post there. One of my main reasons for contacting them, I wanted to know if there was any requirement on how far they need to be spaced and things like that. I mean, they talk about a 30-degree angle where you can see them, but I haven't seen anything on a specific distance and stuff like that. Certainly, we would want to use the least amount that we can there and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, that's why I think it would be nice to be able to get everything on one sign so there's less
Yeah.
signs to be distracting people.
I agree, and like Jeff said, I believe
I think
we had a split sign there that said, that, I think one was in red, one was in green there, and if I recall.
Yeah, it had the 1 hour, the 2 hour, and the no parking on all on one sign, I think, a couple of them.
Did it? Okay.
Yeah, some of them were really a little too much.
And we really should look at our side streets there too. I know one of the suggestions was that if we eliminated it on Keller, we might as well eliminate it on the other side streets as well, and I would concur with that as well there, but I think we need to look at, some of those signs have shifted over the years, and
So when you say the side streets such as Maple Birch Center be looked at closer, are you suggesting not to sign those right now? Sign the Keller Avenue side and then see what happens on the side streets?
I think we want to keep that ordinance there on the 2 hour
On
there.
the side streets?
Right,
Okay.
yeah. Only if we were going to not have parking on Keller Avenue there, then I think it would be wrong to have it on the side.
Right.
If we were going to eliminate it, then they all should be eliminated there. But there are certainly the dynamics have changed over the years, and I think maybe Rick had brought that up, a couple of times as well there. But it's something that Jeff and I could take a look at further on the side streets there. Also, there's, in our ordinance, it talks about some of our parking lots that have restrictions on and that we've never signed or anything like that. That's something that Jeff and I could confer on as well there and see what works best for not only their plowing situations there, but also be mindful of different tenants that rely on parking in those parking lots, so.
I looked at the 40525, 2 hour parking on the east side of Harriman between Center and Maple Street. And I wonder if that's I know it's not enforced at all. I don't think it's signed even.
There are some areas that, yeah, when you look at that, yeah, there are some areas there that.
It's
are-
primarily a residential area, and I know there's parking far more than 2 hours a day, but I don't perceive it to be I think where that was put in for the funeral home for visitation.
I suspect, yes.
So that it wasn't packed up with people,
Yeah.
but.
We can certainly revisit, and bring back to the committee there on what suggestions that maybe Jeff and I may have on that.
Yeah.
Take a look at those areas a little bit closer there and maybe spend some more time looking at the parking and stuff like that, just to see, maybe we can eliminate some areas or shorten some areas up like we're suggesting on Keller there.
one area that I think has proven to be a success, and that is no parking on the east side of Harriman Avenue from Baker Street to Duranda Street. And I think that's something that we need to seriously consider being a full-time, no parking.
I would agree
It's
from
Elm Street.
Elm Street.
Elm Street,
Yeah.
yeah, not Baker, from Elm,
Okay, yeah.
I'm sorry.
I would agree from Elm Street down to
South
Just-
Street.
South Street there because of the jog and the width of that and the number of vehicles there that park at the housing units there and stuff like that. I think that would be a good idea.
Do you think that's even an issue, even if we go in clear to Duranda Street? Because the street doesn't get any wider down there.
I don't see a whole lot of vehicles parked there anyway. I know
I
for
know,
quite a
that's
long
why,
time by the
that's why it'd be a good time to put the signs
by the
up.
hospital there, that was all for about almost a half a block, all painted yellow over the years there. There really isn't, you have Evergreen in the community center,
And they have buku parking at
Yeah.
both places.
and if it's only on one, yeah, I guess I don't see a problem in that, do you,
I think it'd
Ted?
be a good idea personally.
Yeah.
I do.
I think that, I mean, it's made traveling Harriman, and of course, we've seen an exponential increase in traffic on Harriman Avenue this summer, which is good. By the way, thanks for that standalone in the middle of the street. You can't believe how much that slowed the traffic down going by my house. It just,
Slowed the traffic down by Water's Edge too, there, somebody ran one over, so.
I saw that. But,
Yeah, you gotta kinda move it to the east a little bit, cause it's a little narrow there.
but it really, I mean, I've seen people, just juicer from the Berman Avenue corner hit probably 45 miles an hour and see that thing there and go, and the front end goes down and they slow down. It's really been a helpful thing.
We'll probably be talking about some more of them when
Yeah.
budget time comes.
Yeah.
because,
Yeah, these ones are shot.
Yeah.
They've been through
I
the
saw.
mill and hit.
Well, they've been, what have
over
we
and
had
over
them,
and-
5 years or 6 years?
Say
Maybe
at least
more.
6,
Yeah, at least, yeah.
Yeah,
We haven't ordered any new ones
They-
since probably day one there, I think, but they've seen their better days.
done their good service. Retire them to the old schoolboys line or something.
Oh, I heard the gun range.
So the outcome of that discussion is that you're gonna go back to the ordinance and make recommended changes to the ordinance, and will then allow the signs to follow whatever the ordinance says, right? Is that what I distill that down to, or?
I think it was the 2 hour you're trying to get.
Yeah, I think, yeah,
Leave it as
it was a
is.
2 hour on Keller Avenue, I think that became the big discussion there.
Is that what's already in the ordinance, though?
Yeah, well,
1 hour.
1 hour
It's 1
parking is
hour.
in the ordinance, actually, the ordinance says 6 AM to 10 PM, but, that makes, that's one thing that hasn't been changed there. But when we do get these recommendations from the council there, then we need to make sure that our ordinance is changed there, and then we can
Yep.
present that.
Did we get any feedback from the business people?
We did. Was a survey that I presented last month, and that was what we got.
That's all, nobody.
There was a handful, and I think
A
it was,
handful, yeah.
It was
50-50.
50-50.
It was
Yeah.
pretty
It really
close to
was.
50/50.
Pretty
Yeah.
close,
Yeah,
both ways there, and
Yeah.
But I can see that if we don't do the side streets or Maple, Birch, and Center, that'd be a lot of employee parking there during the day. So
yeah.
So I guess I would-
People are gonna have to be aware of that, and police themselves maybe. So, see what happens.
So I guess I would entertain a motion for what we want it to be then.
I'll make a motion to change the ordinance on the parking. I've already gone out of the file to 2 hour limit on the east side of Keller from Central to Tower Street, and on the west side of Keller from Baker to Berman. And in addition to that, no overnight parking, which it already says, but to add it or to change it from 1 to 2 hour.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Thank you.
Recommendation of the full
Do we need
council.
need a motion now to permanently no park on the east side of Harriman?
I would. mind add that to that?
Yeah,
I think
change the
that'd be a good
ordinance
idea.
with that, too.
Either that or whatever, I'll make a motion that we
To add it
That
to
we
the
do that.
ordinance?
make that permanent, right?
From,
Good idea as well.
From
Elm Street.
Elm Street to
To Duranda,
Duranda Street, yeah.
on the east side of the road.
Yeah.
East side, right.
Do you have a second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, recommendation is moved to council.
It's kind of fun that you have a significant event that kind of highlights some of those things for you that you can, if you don't take advantage of what you learn, you waste that time, so.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's a good plan.
As long as we're talking about signage, and I know it's probably on the forefront of some people's minds, I really do think that we need to do a much better job. We need to be proactive on our managing and signing the public parking lots because of the issue that people are having with the lack of parking. I don't know who needs to look into the signage that just says we need to have some sort of parking or public parking directional signs, I think, for
There are a lot of
the.
communities that have really nice ones that I've seen, and I think we maybe discussed that at one point there. but,
I know we did. I
you know,
think we need to be
but
proactive on that and get
Richmond,
that done
Spooner,
sooner
some
than
of these other
later.
places there are really good when you're coming down, looking out.
Yep.
If you see the
Police
blue
departments down
P
this
sign,
road,
that's
or
pretty
there's
much the
municipal
standard
parking down there.
Finding it.
So people will know where these parking lots
Yeah.
are, and
But then
So-
we should have an overall signage program. What do they call it?
I was just gonna say that they're wayfinding.
Wayfinding,
And
so we
Buck
can
just
point
did
out
it.
the hospital, the school, city hall, police department, you know.
Is that something that we could ask the beautification committee to look at and make
I would, yeah.
recommendations? I mean,
Yeah.
it's a smaller group that can work out something and make recommendations.
Sure.
Okay. Next up on the agenda is Woody McBride Concert Venues, number 3. So this must be pertaining to the Chris Cruzy concert that was postponed to a date TBD.
You wanna take this over, Paul?
Sure.
Because he wanted me to put it on.
Okay.
Yeah. Because they were gonna reschedule Chris Crosby because his concert was canceled due to inclement weather. And he's a big show, so they didn't wanna, because he would reschedule, they didn't wanna mess it up. And so he's down for rescheduling. In the meantime, Craig Olson and Debbie Elmers sat down and came up with an idea to have a street party for the opening of the Main Street and to feature Chris Cruzy as part of the opening of Main Street. Well, doing that, it would have to be over here in parking lot, or that's what they were thinking, a parking lot for the city hall, and all done. So Woody, after they talked to Woody, Woody came back with two dates of September 7th. Chris is open, and October 14th. Chris is open. Well, October 14th puts it after the opening day of Highway 46. Between September 7th, so you start looking at it, you're guaranteed pretty darn good weather September 7th. Even though it's a day after, it's a Tuesday night, it's a day after Labor Day weekend. It's the draw. People will come anyway, whether they were all partied out over the weekend, they're going to come for Chris Cruzy or on October 14th. But the chance of having better weather is in September versus, that's like 5 weeks later, and the average temperature really drops. So Woody was going to send us any other dates? Did he send any other dates to you?
He has not.
Okay. So, and it would be an extra cost to have it on October 14th, which the Shop Amory group would put together a fundraiser and raise money because we're gonna have to have power. There's no band shell there. Are we gonna, they gonna get ready for rain out where? So, we just, I think Woody's looking for an inkling from the council. You want to have a big party to be determined with an extra cost, or just rebook it for Michael Park September 7th, and it's all paid for.
If it's September 7th, are we projected to have at least first layer of blacktop on by then?
It would be close, they won't guarantee anything right now.
It
Even
doesn't,
the state said they're questioning some of the, like the street standard or traffic standards they're concerned about getting, just not getting the material in.
Yep. Everything's kinda, but it would be at Michael Park on the
It would be at
7th,
Michael
not
Park on
Main
September,
Street,
yeah.
but Main Street would probably,
I was just
It'd be
thinking,
really
I was just
close.
thinking, why not have it right in the middle of Main
They
Street
will
if
not-
the roads are still
they will
closed?
not let you because of the liability if somebody, curbs
Falls
aren't ready,
off the
this
curb.
ain't ready, if
Yeah.
somebody
I
falls
already
or
asked.
gets
All
hurt.
right,
It's a construction zone.
Yep.
yeah, all right.
Liability.
Yep.
But if they did it on October 14th, there's a higher probability it'll be done by then.
Yep, but not guaranteed, but
Higher probability.
yes.
Except usually by October 14th, when the sun goes down, it's cool.
Oh, yeah. We check the temperature.
And we set the time too, what,
Yes.
It's,
sunset September 7th was 6:41 and it's 5:21.
Yeah, you lose an hour and 20 minutes
Yeah,
on one.
and the temperature difference, average is 15 degrees
you'd have to
cooler.
request
so-
that.
Yeah.
You'd
I
have to
don't know.
file
I'm
for a
just,
permit.
I'm concerned
they're-
about
they don't want
availability
it
of people. I
October,
mean,
they would
October
put it on
10th,
Main
you've
Street.
got all kinds of
No.
school activities going on by then. and-
No, because if the
No,
street,
they're talking in the parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
if
Yeah.
the street is open, then you can't, then you gotta get something from the
Yeah.
state to close the street down, so you don't wanna do that. I don't, October seems like the wrong date to me.
I think it's a challenge to have anything that's outside that you expect to have a lot of people and try to keep everyone comfortable. Just getting dark that early is a challenge, I think.
Park's a good place to have it. I mean, it's all set up for the performers, that's for sure.
yeah, you wouldn't have additional costs of staging, electrical, all.
Yeah, you're right,
The
all of
rain,
the
all that
logistics are
stuff.
there for somebody to just connect.
And I think we also can't lose sight that this is, the city has given a lot of money for this concert series, but this is not the city's concert series. So
Right.
I really see it as up to Woody. What does Woody want to do with rebooking, and when does he want to do it?
Well, he gave us those 2 dates.
Then
Yeah,
I think it's up to him to decide what
I
he
do
wants to
too,
do.
but September 7th would definitely be an advantage
so.
for,
And I think if it's in October, it'd be additional cost.
Yeah.
So is he more looking for our approval to rebook this concert? Because I agree with Chad, this is not our,
I think it changed complexion when
He's
somebody
not-
else was looking to get, tie into the same thing. So I think that's what
And
changed.
he doesn't have any Thursdays open. He can't do it the 9th or the
Right.
16th or whatever, so, and he can't do it the Thursday before Fall Festival.
He's
That's what I asked
basically
for.
changing the day
Yeah.
instead of. it will
kill
be
draw on
Thursday.
Tuesday night.
Sure.
yeah,
So
I have no
just-
problem rebooking it. It's just Woody's gonna have to figure it out when and where and how
Yep.
and tell us that.
Yeah, I'll just notify that we talked about it, and everybody seems to be more on the same page.
I think
that
there's
the
a
7th
consensus that he can rebook it.
Yeah,
It's just,
Yeah.
yep.
we're not, it's not our
Job.
thing to sit here and say, this is the date he's gonna do it.
Right.
It's not our event.
But then if it goes to the 14th, then it will be everybody's event, and everybody will have a stake in the game if they are going to pay for that, so.
Yeah.
Why, help me understand why it would be everyone's if, I don't think it's
Because we-
wise for us to say,
Not
yes,
the
let's
city.
do it here. So I
Right.
think that's one thing that we can determine, unless somebody else pays for it. The city, I think, has put enough money into that concert series.
Well, I agree. He
too.
needs to just hold it down here at Michael Park, because
Yeah.
there's the facilities there. That's why the community club built that band shell in the first place, is for that use. Why have another facility? I
Correct.
mean, Fall Fest was great down there last year, because it's a beautiful facility.
And I
That
think
sounds like
he's
what they
talking
wanna
about
do
getting
this
money.
year too.
Good.
Yeah.
He's talking about getting fundraising from different entities for 14th. but
Okay.
More informational than anything, I
Yeah.
suppose.
It's on that group to figure out what they want.
Right. Yep.
Good. Moving on to Amory Historical Society display cases in the new Amory City Center.
This is from Gary Sondra. It's in your packet.
I think, probably out of line, but I think the city should approach Mike Jensen and see if he won't cut us a real deal on that building down there
He said we could have it.
and make it the
Early.
Historical Society building. That's what I think.
He said we could have it if we paid $40,000 for the parking lot. I brought that to city council.
Well, yeah, I remember
And they
that.
sold the parking lot now, so, and it needs a new roof. So we're talking, even if he would do that, we gotta come up with a new roof for it. It's like every other flat building downtown.
However, that's a unique building that's not well suited for a commercial entity necessarily.
Correct.
However, it would make a fabulous place for the Historical Society, and they certainly have more stuff than what they're asking for a room in the new city center. And I don't know that that's the best place for it anyway. But, you use what you got.
We squeezed.
But that
So-
building down there, to me, would be just a perfect place for that. And then they can have it open on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and summertime. The Historical Society in Frederick keeps the old depot open on weekends. They have volunteers that man that. And, Polk County is open. I think they're open 5-6 days a week, aren't they, at the old courthouse? And,
For sure.
yeah, there are, the small communities along the railroad from here to Superior all have something going on. I guess I think.
It sounds like a project.
Part of Parks and Rec, recommendation, how's that?
But it would also
That's
be, we'd be responsible for the heating and cooling water, which I think might get a little expensive.
Depends on, doesn't cost a lot to keep a building at 50 degrees if they're not, unless they're in and out the door a lot.
Big bang windows.
It does.
So with the management of, and maybe this is getting too far down the road, but I'm seeing a lot of similarities between what's happening at the community center and potentially this building as well. So it's our building, but they fundraise, they
I
manage
have
the
no idea if
operations
the
of it.
Historical Society would be even open to it, but
Yep.
it just seemed to me to be a good place and an appropriate use for the building, and something that would be, an addition to Amory, and in addition to, adding more to our downtown area for people to visit and see. You go from the Historical Society to the junk shop and buy what you you know what I mean? We've got a lot of new
Vintage.
enterprises in town that are doing small, antiques and that kind of thing, and now might be a good time for that to come about. And like all good ideas, it takes a while to absorb that.
I think it's something worth considering.
I'd be willing to go talk to Mike Jensen about
So this is the section right there.
Yeah.
So So I don't know what's in between those things, but if it's
Just
empty
wall.
space,
Yeah.
so those cases should fit there.
Yeah.
Looks good.
So
Well-
this is to the question of, yeah.
Yeah, the real question, not the one that we wandered off into. Yeah, but the section outside the meeting room, in that hallway, it locates those three cases,
Yeah.
and it looks like there's space between them, so
I think we make
there's
that happen. Right?
I don't
mean,
think
there's
that's
no
an
other
issue.
plans for that space anyway, so.
no.
And plus, there's spots throughout the library, I would assume, at the end of the
Yep.
at the shelving, on top of the shelving.
I think the only question
There's-
was
there's lots
that
of room in there.
one of the cases is, probably has lights in it, needs to have an outlet, so.
So we just need to coordinate to make sure that there's
There's
outlets.
some antiques here that gotta be moved too, you know?
Yeah.
Talking about us?
No. No,
There's some cool stuff.
dynamite still works for us, but, but the Amory, you know, the old, railroad sign and the 29A, I think that's from 29, isn't it?
So to this agenda item, we're just looking for a commitment that that can be used for that space.
Yeah, and
And I don't know that,
if
I don't know
I
if
get
it needs any
assurances from
action.
the committee and council, we can go ahead and talk to Jody too about it, make sure that
Okay.
fits
Yeah.
in the space.
Well, I think we need to find out from her for sure that.
Yeah.
Are the cases
These dimensions
both-sided,
are
or are
gonna
they
fit.
one-sided
Yeah,
cases?
exactly.
That's kind of what I'm thinking we should do is talk to
Four-way or-
Jody and
Okay, so the
Yeah.
recommendation,
Forward it to heirs to
board
Jody.
it theirs,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then
Make
also,
sure.
probably should mention, ask Jerry if the Historical Society would even think about being interested in that building. If they're
Couldn't
not,
they use room at the senior center?
We tried that.
we tried
already
that.
explored it, we've already explored that.
I just,
It-
I
it
know,
should-
we talked, I just
Seems
didn't
to
know
me
if
that
we
they
could
really need something,
bring people in there.
yeah, of their own, you know?
It just
'cause-
makes
agree.
sense.
Yeah, it
Yep,
does.
I agree.
And they do have one room down there, that, the fitness center, that people haven't been using, so.
We have stuff at the, you know, fire, there's a bunch of fire stuff up at the Polk County, at the old courthouse that we don't have a place to store it down here, you know, or to even display it, so.
Okay, so where do we go with this?
I will
Do-
forward this to Jody.
Okay. And the other thing we were just talking about, is there discussions that we want to at least talk to Jerry and, not saying that that's going to happen
Yeah,
because it's
well, yeah.
bringing on more
Rick
infrastructure.
offered to
Yeah,
I'll
Yeah, he offered
talk
to talk to
to,
him.
get something going on
I'll
it.
talk to Mike and Jerry and
okay, good.
if, I mean, maybe one or both of them will say, no, that's a dumb idea. you know, we
Or
don't
maybe
want-"
they're not even interested.
Maybe,
Or
yeah.
maybe they got a different idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not willing to spend any more money at this point in time until we know what we get when we get into this building.
Absolutely.
So, you know, I mean, we might be putting the cart before the horse at this
But-
point in time, but
Yeah.
I'm
By
not willing to
by
make
time
any
anything
decision on
comes
that
around
yet.
with that, we will know what our final is if we,
Yeah,
That building will still be there.
yeah, I don't think it's.
probably.
And, you know, this isn't on the agenda, but I wanted to notify you that we went out on the bond market, and we went through Baird, and originally it was 2.14% for that money we were going to borrow for the GO bond for 20 years. I just found out today that they went out on the market and it dropped to 1.99. So we're getting $90,000 in savings.
Let's buy beer. No, I didn't say
So
that.
That's great.
so I was happy that
Yeah.
it came in even better.
Yeah. All right, moving on to question number 5, entitlement transfer from Amory Municipal Airport to Burlington Municipal Airport.
Explain.
Oh, jeez.
I feel like we've
I
done this
think I
before,
understand
haven't
it.
We have done this
Yeah.
before.
I understand it, but it seems like we promised that we'll do this if you do that.
We get 148,000 every year from the federal government to use as we see fit. Well, we didn't use that $148,000 quick enough. We didn't get the bill quick enough for the new snowblower for the airport. So they want us to transfer that money to Burlington now, so Burlington can use it, and they're gonna find another airport to bring that $150,000 back to us. But it's a timing thing.
Some
It's
point.
just- Yep. So it's a swap for a later 148,000.
Do we already have that piece of equipment?
Yes.
So how are we gonna pay for that?
When the bill comes due, they'll come up with another airport to send us the money.
And if they don't,
It's already budgeted for us in our budget, I believe.
but budgeted with
we-
the money coming in, right? So the money may be in the budget, but if the money's not there.
It's a reimbursement thing, I think, wherever you spend. They don't just send you a check for 148 every year.
I think their 148 comes out of that. What we pay for the city, our 5%, we pay that.
Yeah.
Their 95% comes out of this 148,000. So if they want to get paid, they got to transfer us that 148. Does that make sense?
Sounds like a complicated government thing.
Oh, it is.
Well, here's the explanation, I think I included that in your packets. It kind of talks about how that works.
Well, and knowing that, I mean, I always get kind of leery with these kinds of things, but seeing who's actually signed off on it and is, you know, telling us that, yes, we are gonna get our money and I'm okay with it. Because I don't think that they would, I mean, obviously, we've done this before. And I like to have some assurances and seeing who's actually in charge of it and gonna take care of it. I feel like that's the assurance that we need. So,
Well, and it also, reading this tells me that it doesn't really matter what we do, we can't spend the money anyway.
Right.
So
Exactly.
we have to give it to somebody.
We're just agreeing to send Burlington money that we don't have anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're doing a new airport layout plan, and we're having a meeting August 31st.
August 31st.
And this new airport layout plan is going to cost us $200,000. That's what it costs now. SEH is doing it, and this money will help pay for that also. This is how we pay for that program, so.
I guess I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the entitlement transfer from Amory Municipal Airport to Burlington Municipal Airport.
A second.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, recommendation to move on to full council.
And they addressed Paul as your honor,
I did see that, which is the appropriate way to
it's
do
the
it.
appropriate, but I'm not gonna do that.
You call me Paul. I mean, this guy, I call him on the phone. He says, "Oh, Your Honor."
It's fun.
Motion to go into closed session per Wisconsin statute 1985, parent 1, parent C.
Okay, I'll just add on that we will reconvene into open session only for adjournment.
Second?
All those in favor?
Roll call.
Roll call, thank you.
Just 1 second. Okay, Strobush?
Yep.
And Blaricomp?
Yes.
Leonard?
Yes.
Lineham?
yes.
Isaacson?
Yes.
Elkin?
Yes.